her cookbook was stolen when she was passed away. My story in food sort of started as part of grieving of the passing of my grandmother. So it didn't really start with good memories.
Today's guest is Ranie Saidi, a food writer whose work explores culture, heritage, and the stories we carry through cooking. He's the author of The Malay Cook, a deeply personal celebration of Malay food, family, and tradition. Ranie writes with warmth and clarity about what it means to cook from memory and how recipes can be a way of preserving identity. We're delighted to have him join us on the Good Food Podcast. Ranie, welcome to the Good Food Podcast. I'd love to know what you had for dinner last night.
Thank you so much for having me here. It's such a surreal moment to be here, sitting here after years of listening to all this podcast. Last night, actually, I had some leftovers. I did some catering outside London.
Okay.
Cooking some of the dishes from the book, actually. So last night, I had salmon rain rice with rendang and also matrimonial chicken. Yes, it wasn't planned, but yeah, I had that catering plan last few weeks, and then it's really good to have some of the leftovers when you're back in London.
And then you mentioned your new book. So that is The Malay Cook.
Yes.
And the recipes in your book are recipes that you've learnt from your grandma.
Yes.
So they're all very authentic Malay recipes, or there's kind of like a mixture?
Yeah, I think it's a mixture. I think the word authentic itself is it's quite a dirty word at the moment, right? Everybody wants asking, is this authentic? I think authentic is very personal.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, like with my grandma, she got that recipe that's been passed through generation from one hand to another hand. Yeah. So what is authentic? But this is as authentic as it could be with where we are at the moment.
And to your family, it's authentic, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is authentic to my family. But also I have evolved it to like my lifestyle here. But the thing is, with the book itself, those recipe is as authentic as I remember it, because her cookbook was stolen when she was passed away.
No.
On the way of her passing, people stole her recipe book. Gosh. So hence why this became a project to sort of like reclaiming it and put it together and then keep it so it lives beyond anyone's life in my family.
And so when you were writing the recipes, you were cooking something that you were like, I think this is how she made it, and then you taste it and be like, oh, that's not quite right, I'll tweak something? Or were there other people that could help you with the recipes?
Yeah, so a lot of that, a lot of trial and error, a lot of failures, a lot of not sure. Been going to a lot of different Malaysian restaurants around London and also in the UK, just to try and find this palette and what's missing. And my aunt we've been very, very close, and she will say, oh, try this ingredient, what about this and what about that? And then sort of like we develop it to the best that it could get. And it's very much of the taste memory. So for me, when I'm eating some of the dishes, even like last night when I ate it, wow, it just suddenly you remember like, yeah, it's not 100% there, but I think 99% is almost there.
It
so
must be,
good.
Really kind of, because like you're saying, with flavors and with food, like it's the memory of it. It takes you back. That must be quite an interesting project, or the book must be an interesting project to do, but also quite kind of hard, because you're presumably taking you back to memories of you and your grandma.
My story in food sort of started as part of grieving of the passing of my grandmother. So when my grandmother passed away, I moved to the UK to further my studies. Sure. I decided it's like, all right, clean slate, start all over again. But over the years, at the beginning of my years in London, I struggled with my identity. I struggled with a bit of not sure where do I belong in this world. So I went through this process of discovery. I've joined therapy, speak with my therapist. And then what we realized is that I didn't grieve of the passing of my grandmother. When we started discussing about grieving, I end up crying all the time. And I said, I don't want to remember my grandmother in this situation, because if I constantly crying, it's not going to be a fun thing. And then we unpick a lot of those emotions, and we realize that why don't we remember her at the best time where you're really happy with her. And most of those memories were when I was cooking with her in the kitchen.
Wow.
Because she was a cook back in Malaysia. She was a wedding cook.
Oh.
She does catering.
Yeah.
And then it's just so...
And now you're doing it.
I know, it's just so surreal to see that, oh my God, it is evolving to this. That's when the book became my way of cooking and remembering her through good memories.
Sure.
So it didn't really start with good memories, but I feel now we are at a place where we are celebrating her life.
Yeah. And it helps, I guess, with like you say, with grieving and kind of exploring what comes after. Because you're also, you've got a good following on social. So did that come first, or did that come as part of the book, like writing the book project?
It comes as part of the writing of the book. And I guess when I started cooking, mostly with friends and family, and when I'm kind of feel really sad, I cook and start calling my neighbors or like my friends.
Yeah.
Please do come and taste this food and eat with me. And that's the beauty about grieving, right? You don't have to talk about it so much, but when you cook something, you put it in the middle of the table, the conversation just flows, and then it becomes something that is so memorable and in a positive way. Everyone's happy and there's a lot of reflection. So slowly from there, I got some interest from other brands. When I hosted supper clubs at Zoho House, for example, got invited by them, and then the ticket sold out within 5 minutes. It was really, we didn't expect any of it. And then from there, the story of the book, the dishes and the dishes itself kind of resonate with a lot of people. And I guess at that point of time, I have always been listening to podcasts, food podcasts, a lot of, food magazine and food channels. But I felt a little bit alone because I was cooking because I was sad, because I was grieving.
Sure.
And a lot of the stories are very much, oh my God, this is an amazing experience. I'm very happy. Feel like that happiness, it feels like that's not how I started. And then I realized actually we need to talk about how food and sustenance actually so important, especially in the period of grieving, in the period of sadness, in the period of unsure. And then this is where want to share that. And I guess when people ask me about what do I want from this book, what I want people to remember is to keep any of your favorite recipes from your loved ones, whether it's your sister, whether it's your mom, your grandma, your partner, because they're not always going to be with us.
True.
But that memories can continue beyond their life through dishes and through recreating those memories when we're cooking and hosting.
Wow. And I think, I guess, like you were saying that a lot of people, what I've noticed recently is, I think, more recently, Mira Soda as an example.
Yes,
she, I think, was going through a period of a difficult time, and she just stopped cooking. So I think it's really interesting how it can be something that becomes overwhelming, but also for you, it became something actually the opposite. It was like you needed it to help you get through through that time. I think it's just interesting how it becomes different. Cooking becomes different for different people, I guess.
Yeah, I think a lot of when people think about cooking, especially when you're in kind of depressed or feeling low, you don't want to cook.
No.
But what I've realized when I cook, I'm in the kitchen with her and I feel better about it. And the best thing is not necessarily eating those dishes.
Yeah.
Like when you share it. Because often, when you're not feeling great, you don't have a lot of appetite. But the act of giving and sharing and the fact that you're low and you're still giving, that is, I think, the best medicine. And that has always been about my grandmother. Like she always wants to give more. Even her, as a catering cook, she has a team. She will make sure that her team has a different dishes that she will cook herself, not the leftovers.
Yeah.
So that's always been at the forefront of what she does. And that's very important because she always said to me, like, giving doesn't make you poor. And even when you don't have anything, you still have a grain of rice that you could share with others.
And so did you grow up with your grandma?
Yes. My parents got married very young. And I think I was born when my mom, in her final years at medical school. So yeah, it must be really, really tough on her. So my late grandmother on the paternal side, basically my dad's mom, happily and willingly looking after me at the age of from the age of 2 weeks.
Gosh.
Yeah. So ever since then, every school holidays, I always spend time with her. I'm always in the kitchen with her. I'm just like this little minion just following her. And she is a force of nature. She's very, she has a big personality, but people also kind of like nervous around her because she knows, she knows what she's doing, and she's very much maternal. But at the same time, very strong woman. And that's where I think it's because of her upbringing.
Sure.
But because I'm her favorite, so I get away with everything. Like my cousins always feel like, oh God, how does he do it? But I'm like, I don't know. I'm just her favorite, which was very lucky of me.
And then, so your mum and dad didn't really cook very much?
So my dad cooks really well.
Okay.
So everyone's in my grandma's and my granddad's children cooks very well. So I got my dad and 2 aunts. They cook very, very well. So it's always been a competition.
Right.
I could see between my aunts, it's like, oh, yours is not like how this one do it. Oh, that's not really great. And that's the thing. When I go back to Malaysia, I'm just like, when are you cooking for us? I'm not sure about this because, they're such a great cook. That's the beauty of, kind of living in an environment where everyone loves to cook and everyone just learn how to cook by watching, and that's the beauty of it.
And obviously we're talking about Malaysian cooking.
Yes.
But what are like key Malaysian ingredients?
When it comes to Malaysian cooking, there are 3 main parts of Malaysian cooking. So we have the Malay cooking of Malaysia, which was the Malay as a Malay people that inhabit Malaysia. So colonialism happened and then brought in Chinese and also Indian community, and you have those dishes that intertwine that became Malaysian cuisine. And that's why it's really difficult to like define what one ingredient or one dish that represent a country. But for the Malay cooking, that where I was born in and what I grew up eating, when it comes to our spices, we have 4 siblings. Spices that called 4 siblings, which they are star anise, cinnamon, cloves, and cardamom. Okay. So that is the base spice for all our cooking. And in Malay cooking, the coconut is a huge, very prominent part of the Malay cooking. And then the coconut tree itself, because of during that colonialism period, although these 3 races are in the same country, but we never integrate, we never see each other. So the Malay community has always been in the village near the sea, where it's surrounded by coconut tree. And that's why we use coconut, from drinking water, from the milk itself, and then even the coconut, any leftovers, we will use it as when we do barbecue, for example, we use those parts of coconut tree.
So you can often get things like wrapped in the leaves, do you? And
yes. Yeah. So that's why coconut is just so prominent in the Malay cooking and also Malay culture. Nice. So that's true now, right? Is that spices, coconut. Often when we cook, whether we cook poultry, meat, or seafood, we will always marinate it with salt and turmeric powder. And then we will leave it for at least half an hour. And that's because of the tropical heat. Lots of this meat can smell a bit gamey, and seafood can smell quite fishy. You want to remove the smell, but also have that element of medicinal from that turmeric. So before you either fry those ingredient or add it into like a curry base. You coat them in turmeric.
And then what are like the classic dishes, would you say?
Yes, classic dishes, rice.
Yeah.
Rice is very important. So the way how we eat, there's always rice.
Okay, and is that like a side? Or is it the center
At the
of the dish?
center
Yeah.
of our dish. So it's all about sharing. So we have side dishes. And in terms of side dishes, you could either have, there's no strict rule. So there's always either poultry, meat, or seafood, and vegetables on the side. So you can either have one rice and 2 side dishes or 3 side dishes. Really depends. We have sambal on the side. Really depends on which part of Malaysia that you're from. Like in Indonesia, you've seen like in a lot in Indonesian cooking, sambal is so prominent. But for us, it's scattered around depending on your upbringing, depending on your food culture.
I guess whatever you get locally, is it?
Yeah.
Because so the rice, can that change as well? Sometimes it's like steamed, sometimes it's coconut rice, sometimes it's... And then is it sort of occasion based, or is it really just whatever you've got?
Yeah, occasion based. So, I mean, on daily basis, it's just going to be steamed white rice with all those side dishes. But depending on the occasion, whether it's weddings, celebrations, birthdays, you have like sort of flavored rice.
Okay.
And that's the beauty of Malay cooking, that you have those flavored rice and side dishes. And even when I wrote this book, in the proposal stage, I presented this flavored rice. I'm like, okay, would it be overpowering or taking over the flavors of the side dishes? But it is not, because although it is flavored, but its flavor are very subtle. It's not like biryani, right? So I'm giving an example where flavored rice that people sort of know here, especially in the UK or in the in the Western world, like biryani have like a really strong flavors in terms of rice, but not in the Malay rice dishes. You still have a bit of flavors, and then you have side dishes to complement it.
So what would your favorite rice dish be?
Oh God, favorite one, summer rain rice.
Okay, and is that? What's in that?
So summer rain rice is a rice dish that originates from the east coast of Malaysia. And there's a different version of like the origin of this summer rain rice. And this summer rain rice is very colorful rice. It's made with evaporated milk and then the 4 sibling spices, all cook and boil, and then add some rice and then water, and then let it steam. And then at the end of the process, before all the water has been evaporated, it's like literally about 10 minutes, you remove the lid, you start injecting all these different colors into the rice. And then you close the lid and then let everything dry.
Yeah. What's the color? Sorry.
Okay. So those colors represent the rainbow color.
Yeah. Food coloring, or?
I think before, a lot of people use food coloring, but now things has sort of evolved and use more like a natural color. So for example, with blue, to get a blue color, so we use blue PET, where we soak in hot water, and then yellow from the turmeric, red from beetroot water,
nice,
and then yellow from pandan.
Oh, pandan.
From pandan leaf that you blitz it, and then you
Is that
strain
not
the
green?
color. Green, sorry, green,
okay,
not
yeah,
yellow.
yeah.
Yeah, so those 4 colors that's been used in that rice dish.
Yeah, and then you pop the lid back on, and let it steam, basically.
Let it like to do a final steam.
Yeah.
And then after that, you remove the lid, and then you'll just mix the rice, and then you see these colors sort of like mix to each other. So it looks like a rainbow.
Great.
And one of the story that I really like about this, that I choose to believe in, is that in east coast of Malaysia, they are affected very much from the monsoon season. So there's a period when there's torrential rain, where people cannot go working, like the Malay community then either do plantation or work as a fisherman. So they can't go to the sea, they can't go to to the garden to plant things. So they end up staying at home. And then this rice dish just sort of remind them there's always rainbow at the end of this storm.
Nice. Yeah.
And that's just a beautiful story.
It's nice that there's some meaning to the dish as well. And then, so with that, would you serve, what kind of meat dishes would you serve?
So you could either...
Or seafood or...
serve it with this East Coast Malaysia kerutuk chicken, kind of like curry base, or we call gulai. So we don't call Malaysian curry as curry, we call it gulai. So curry to the Malay community are very much representing the Indian influence of a curry.
Yeah.
So Indian influence of a curry is all about their spices, while the Malay version of gulai are very much about the coconut milk and coconut cream and different parts of coconut.
That's my favorite kind of curry, coconut.
Just absolutely delicious.
I think it's because it's quite sweet or sweeter, maybe.
So when Malay cooking is all about the balance.
Yeah.
So it's not too spicy, especially the Malaysian version is not too spicy. There's an element of layered flavors of savory and a bit of sweetness from palm sugar, and then that creaminess, umami from coconut. So with the summer rain rice, I love to pair it with this East Coast kind of gulai called kerutuk, either a chicken version or vegetarian version, and then with vinegar sambal on the side.
And sambal is like a sort of chutney.
Yeah, it's sort of like chutney, but not that texture. So it can either be loose, it can either be really thick. And sambal that I was growing up with have different meaning and different version for different occasion.
Okay.
So there's a version of like a lot of sambal that we know here that's been promoted really widely here is a version of sambal where you cook it for a long time. It's like, you know, when we make a tomato-based sauce for pasta, it is the same like with, you know, you cook that chili with onion and then let the oil kind of separate from the chili and onion, and then you add salt, sugar, and then balance it with some tamarind. So that is one version of sambal. The other version of sambal can also be a soy sauce sambal where you use bird's eye chili, blitz it with soy sauce, blitz it with crispy fried onion, and then just serve it on the side.
That sounds spicy.
That sounds spicy, but you...
For me, it would be spicy.
Yeah, it will be spicy. It is spicy. And then I think some of my friends, even like now, they do, even here in London, some of them do it very spicy. And I'm like, oh God, this is too spicy for me. But my favorite one has always been the vinegar sambal.
Okay, nice.
Because it cut through all the grease from anything that with coconut milk or anything that you fry.
Yeah, it can be quite fatty, can't it?
Yeah, so it's really, really nice compliment.
We are going to move on to our next section, which is favourite dish. Now, you've told me your favourite rice, but what is your all-time favourite dish? It doesn't have to be Malaysian. It can be Malaysian.
Seafood, like anything with seafood, I absolutely love it. Yeah. So any kind of cuisine that serves seafood, that's what I will always order.
And have you got a favourite seafood dish?
What I really like, what we call it, ikan sumbat, where you stuff your fish with coconut sambal and then you grill it.
Coconut sambal is, did you talk about that one earlier? That's
not coconut sambal. No. So again, anything that you cook. Sambal is really difficult to define, to be honest. It's like, because it has different meaning to different people. So with coconut sambal, similar concept like vinegar sambal, for example.
Yeah.
So you use, again, the base has always been chili, and then you have some onion, some ginger, and lemongrass, and then you blitz everything together, fry it for like 5-10 minutes, and then you mix it with desiccated coconut.
Nice.
And then season it with salt and sugar.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that would be what, and then you stuff that
into the dish. In mackerel.
Yeah.
And then you grill it.
Oh, that sounds good.
Just really, really good. I think we have a version of one of it in the book.
Yeah.
But instead of stuffing the sambal, you put it in between two mackerel fillet, and then you tie it at the end, and then you put it in the oven.
Nice.
Or you can like pan grill it.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
And what would you serve that with?
Salad.
Yeah.
You can serve it with rice. It's very flexible. So however you want to eat it. And that's the thing, this book is showing how the Malay cooking sort of evolved for me, and then make it as accessible as possible to everyone.
Sure.
And it also represents sort of part of my kind of way I'm living. So for example, like what I mentioned earlier, right? The dishes are very much about the balance. And there's a lot of people are very much conscious about the use of sugar in cooking, which is very important part to break, the acidity of sugar or the creaminess, the acidity of a flavor of a dish, or acidity or creaminess of a dish. So you need that balance.
Yeah.
But in this book, I got a chapter on how do you substitute this ingredient with something that is more healthier.
Okay, that's good.
How much do you use honey? How much do you use agave syrup if you're vegan? And that way, I want it to be more accessible to everyone, so everyone feel like they can have it the way how they want it.
I'm just thinking about the way you would serve those dishes then, because I'm in my mind you get one each, but actually is it that a big rice? Yeah, so it's very much I feel like a lot. Sharing plates are so popular, aren't they? Yeah. So I guess it's.
But our portion's bigger. Our sharing plates portion is really big. So
good, because sometimes they are too small.
Yeah, they're too small, and that's been my experience.
So more like a buffet than tapas.
Yeah, so it's not tapas at all. So it's a very, it's just very. What do you call it? It's
generous.
Generous. Yeah, that's the word.
Okay, we're going to move on to culinary confessions.
Yes.
What is the one dish that you make better than anyone else?
Peanut sauce. My Malay peanut sauce.
Is that like satay sauce?
Yeah, it's like satay sauce. Yeah. Used to sell the sauce, and I personally think that I've made that better than other people.
Can you give us any tips and tricks?
You need to fry all your ingredient before you blitz them. That what makes it more creamy.
Toasting them off a bit.
Yeah. So because you want to fry your onion, ginger, lemongrass before you blitz them.
Sure.
With chili.
Great. Yeah. What is your biggest cooking disaster?
God, I did this catering, and one of the dishes, this matrimonial chicken, but I need to do a vegetarian version of it using tofu. Did everything right, but the tofu sat in this heat kind of cabinet for a bit too long, and then it draws out all the moisture, and it becomes really dry, and then you just like, oh my god, what do I do now? So we had to
start all over again. Well, at least you didn't serve it, I suppose.
Yes, didn't serve that. Definitely not.
Have you ever served something ready-made and pretended you made it yourself?
No. It's a big no. No.
If you could change one thing about the way we grow, buy, cook, or eat food in this country that would be better for the planet, what would it be?
I think it's more about the philosophical of where does this dish come from? Because there's this obsession of, is this authentic? Is it actually come from Indonesia, or is it Malaysia? We always have to remember that there's nuance in history.
Sure.
And there's 100 years ago, there was no borders. And now with all these borders, no one can claim that one dish is from them. So for example, like between Malaysia and Indonesia, there's always this kind of debate, like who owns rendang, for example. But rendang is not a dish. Rendang is a method of cooking, and every family has different recipes.
Sure. Okay.
So instead of saying, this is ours, why don't we say that this is from all of us, from this part of the world?
Great. If your personality were a flavour of ice cream, what would it be and why?
Yes, this one is really interesting because I've actually created one. It's a red bean ice cream.
Red bean
ice cream made with coconut milk.
Nice.
Served with salted peanuts and pandan grass jelly. and sweet corn actually. So
sweet corn,
and
gosh,
sweet corn.
yeah.
So it's my take of a classic Malaysian dessert called ABC. It's like this icy, chef ice kind of dessert with all the syrups, palm sugar syrups, rose syrup, and then with salted peanuts.
Great.
And jelly, and I serve that in all my supper clubs. So that's that's my dessert basically.
That's you in a nutshell, yeah.
That's me in a nutshell.
Right, if you were going to open a themed restaurant and it was based on your life, what would you call it and what would the signature dish be?
It's going to be a Malay Speaks Easy bar.
Nice.
I want to have like all this really nice street food, kind of small plates.
Yeah.
I know I've said earlier that I was bigger, but slightly bigger. So it's not going to be that small. When I say small plate, it's still big.
But just not as big as classic.
It's not. Okay. Exactly. So it's a taster of Malaysia from different parts. And I see it as that there will be a set menu of 14 different plates that represent 14 states of Malaysia that people can pick and choose.
And what would you would call it Malaysia Speakeasy or something?
I'll call it the Malay Cook.
Yeah, of course.
Of course.
Is there a food you always eat on your birthday?
A food that's been cooked by others. My birthday is one of that day that other people cook for me.
Yeah, good. And do you have a food guilty pleasure?
Cheese and onion sandwich. Just because the smell of onion quite strong, and I love it. I absolutely love cheese and onion sandwich. But every time I want to buy it, when I go to the supermarket, I'm like, who am I going to see after this? Am I meeting someone? I don't want the smell of onion when I'm speaking to you.
Yeah. It's very different from all the other food we've talked about as well, isn't it? Yeah.
It's very different.
Right, we're going to move on to our quick fire question round. So I'm going to move your book.
All right.
I'm going to bring out our timer. Now I'm going to start the timer.
Okay.
And then I'm going to ask you the questions. And then I'll say final question, read you the question, then you answer it, and then you stop it. Best kitchen tip you've ever been given?
So blue PT makes blue color. And then when you squeeze some lime, it'll become purple.
Oh. If you could only eat one cuisine for the rest of your life, what would it be?
That would be anything seafood. Spanish food.
Okay. What ingredient is the biggest waste of money?
Caviar.
Worst thing you've ever eaten?
Cow's testicle.
Oh, your signature can't be bothered meal?
A crab pasta with garlic and parsley.
Favorite midnight snack?
Salted peanuts.
What food should have its own national holiday?
Rice.
What's your go-to hangover food if you drink?
Cheese and onion sandwich.
What food did you hate as a kid but now love?
Rose. Anything with rose flavor, but now I'm absolutely obsessed with it.
If you could invent a new crisp flavor, what would it be?
That will be white pepper, sea salt, and onion flakes.
Name a fictional character you'd love to have dinner with.
Storm from the X-Men.
Oh. And final question, starter, main or dessert?
Oh, main. Always main.
How is it?
How is it?
Oh, that's not bad. 1 minute 14. That's good.
It's all right. I was aiming for like
3 seconds.
below 1 minute. No.
Now, Spanish.
Yes.
And you've just spent nearly an hour talking about Malaysian food.
I know, right?
That is a shock.
I know, because there's a lot of seafood.
Also, cow's testicles.
Yes.
What was that like?
Oh my God. No, it was
big.
It was big. It's very chewy, and it just tastes like cow's testicle. And it smells of grass and urine.
Oh.
So yeah, I had it as a soup back in Malaysia, and I was like, wow, this is too exotic for me.
Wow. Gosh. And I I thought Storm was a very good choice. She's my favorite X-Men. So yeah, good choice.
I absolutely love her growing up.
Right, final question for today, which is, what does good food mean to you?
Wow. Good food means to me, in a sense, that a kind of food that when you reheat it, it keeps on giving. And that's what I really love about Malaysian food, and especially the Malay cooking, for example, because you cook few days before and then you let it rest for a few days and let it sit and let all the flavors kind of mingle and marry really, really well. And when you're ready to serve, you actually done the cooking a few days or a week before.
Fabulous.
Yes.
Well, thank you. And thank you so much for coming in today.
Oh gosh, thank you very much for this. This
Huge
is
luck
great.
with the book.
Thank you very much. Yes, hope you enjoy it.
I will.
Yeah, and cook some of the dishes from it too.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Good Food Podcast. For more recipes and inspiration, visit goodfood.com or download our app. Subscribers to the Good Food app via the App Store can listen to our podcast ad-free.